My account was sitting at $800. I had been watching a setup form for 20 minutes. I genuinely knew, it didn't fully meet my criteria. The structure wasn't clean. The timing was off. Every part of my trained eye saw the problem. And yet my hand moved to the lot size, and I increased it, not because I was confident, not because the trade was good, because $800 didn't feel real enough to protect. That moment changed how I understand trading psychology forever, because what happened there had nothing to do with strategy, nothing to do with discipline, nothing to do with knowledge. It was something deeper. And if you've ever felt your hand move, even when you knew better, then you already understand this. You feel it before the trade even opens. Your heart picks up, just slightly, enough to notice. Your breathing gets shallow. Your hand hovers over the mouse, and for a second you freeze. Not because you don't know what to do, because something deeper than knowledge just took over. This has nothing to do with your strategy. You're not trading right now. You're reacting. Your body just classified this moment as a threat, and everything you've studied, every rule you've written, every plan you made goes quiet, drowned out by something older, something biological. What I'm about to show you took me years to understand, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Picture this. Your account is sitting at $800. Maybe it was $2,000 last month. Maybe $5,000 before that. You've watched it shrink, slowly, then fast, and now you're staring at a setup. You know it's not perfect. The confluence isn't there. The risk to reward barely makes sense, but your hand moves anyway. You increase the lot size, not because you're confident, because $800 doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like enough to matter. So unconsciously, you make the trade bigger. You tell yourself you're being aggressive, that you're being bold, but that's not what's happening. What's happening is shame. And shame has a very specific way of destroying accounts. Jesse Livermore lost his entire fortune, not once, but multiple times. One of the greatest traders who ever lived. A man who could read the market like most people read a clock. And yet, he would spiral. He would overbet. He would abandon the very instincts that made him legendary. People called it greed. Analysts called it recklessness. But if you read between the lines, you start to see something else. A man who couldn't tolerate feeling small, who couldn't sit with uncertainty. And so he acted. Bigger, harder, faster, until there was nothing left. Mark Douglas spent decades studying why intelligent traders self-destruct, and what he found wasn't a strategy problem. It wasn't a knowledge problem. He said it plainly: the market is not the enemy. The mind is. And not because you're weak, but because your mind was never built for this. Here's the truth no one teaches you. Your brain is a survival machine. For 200,000 years, its only job was to keep you alive, and it does that by scanning for threats, constantly. Now put that brain in front of a trading screen. A red candle hits. Your position goes against you. You're down $40. To your rational mind, that's just a trade. But to your nervous system, that's danger. Not metaphorically, literally. The same circuitry that activates when you're in physical danger activates when your account drops. Your body doesn't know the difference. And when the account is small, when losses have been stacking, when that quiet pressure starts building, the signal gets louder, more urgent, more desperate, and desperation doesn't trade small. Desperation says, fix this, now. So let me ask you, do you hesitate even when the setup is clean? Do you exit winners early and watch them run? Do you revenge trade not because there was a signal, but because you needed to erase what just happened? That's not bad trading. That's a nervous system in survival mode pretending to be a strategy. And the hardest part, you already know. You know exactly what you should be doing. You could explain risk management perfectly, but in the moment something overrides it, every time, because knowing isn't the problem, your state is. The industry sold you a lie. That confidence comes from size, that real traders go big, that you need to push harder, be aggressive, take the shot. That's not what professionals do. The best traders are boring. They pass on trades, they trade smaller than you'd expect. They sit on their hands and feel nothing about it. That's not weakness, that's control. Real confidence is simple, following your process, when your emotions are screaming not to. Taking a 0.5% risk, when you could take 5% and feeling completely fine. Not needing the trade to save you, but that requires facing something deeper, the ego. The ego wants to be right, it wants to win big, it wants proof. Now. And a small account triggers it because it whispers, you're behind. You're not there yet, you need this trade, so you push, you overrisk. You abandon the very thing that works for the feeling that might fix you. But this is where everything shifts, not with more effort, not with more knowledge, but with awareness. Before your next trade, pause, breathe, slowly, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out, until your body softens. You're not doing a ritual, you're changing state, from survival to clarity. Then cut your size in half, not because you can't afford more, but because your nervous system can't handle more. At smaller size, loss is just information, not danger. And decisions made there are actually yours. Then write it down, not the trade, the state. How did your body feel? What thought was underneath? This isn't journaling for performance. This is awareness training, and something begins to change. You stop needing the trade. You stop forcing outcomes. You stop trying to win this trade. And you start thinking differently. Each trade becomes one data point in a long distribution. You become a risk manager, not a gambler, and winning starts to look different. It's not excitement, not big green days. It's quiet, it's clean execution, it's boredom. And boredom is the signal that your nervous system is calm, that you're no longer reacting. The market hasn't changed. It never did. The account was never the problem. The market was never the threat. The threat was the meaning you gave to it. And when you finally see that not as an idea, but as something happening inside you in real time, everything changes. The screen looks the same, but you don't. Quiet. Present, clear. Not because the account is bigger, because you are.